everyone. Welcome to the episode that deals with the adjectives, adjectival phrases and modifiers. To make the learners understand the topic scrupulously, we will discuss the meaning, types, uses and position of the adjectives, adjectival phrases and modifiers comprehensively. I am Sakshi Mandwal and our subject expert for today's topic is Ms. Saba Tariq, lecturer for English at the University of Jizan, Saudi Arabia. After watching this episode, we will be able to understand accurate meaning and uses of adjectives, adjectival phrases and modifiers, understand the position of adjectives, adjectival phrases and modifiers in sentences, use the right adjectives, adjectival phrases and modifiers at the right place, and expand and improve the skills of speaking and writing English correctly. If you want to add a little spice and flair to your writing, adjectives can make a dull sentence come alive. Most of us use adjectives quite naturally when we speak. For example, beautiful, pretty, bold, fierce, majestic, many, few, small, blue, much, green, tall, cute, red, smart, too, any, etc. are adjectives which are most commonly used by us. Adjectives are words that modify, that is, describe, quantify or identify a noun or a pronoun. The purpose is to give more information so that the author's meaning is clear to the reader. For example, the girl sat in the back row. The wretched girl sat in the back row. In the first sentence, the noun girl doesn't really give us much information. We don't know anything about her. We just know there is a girl sitting in the back row. Is she tall, thin, small, large, happy or sad? Is she from another planet? We don't know. But in the second sentence, the word wretched is an adjective that describes the noun girl. Suddenly, we get a different mental picture when we read the sentence. Adjectives are words that describe or modify another person or thing in the sentence. Examples of adjectives. Here are more sentence examples using adjectives that describe, quantify or identify. The star-shaped kite glided through the air. Jennifer covered her bedroom walls with neon green paint. The racing boat zoomed over the calm surface of the lake. The cave was dark and cold. Many fans turned out for the big championship game. The cracked vase set on the dusty shelf. The back of the closet was littered with old discarded clothes. Our adventurous tour guide led us up the rocky, mountainous path. Martin felt embarrassed by his explosive tantrum. The tiara was adorned with sparkling jewels. The articles a, an and the are also adjectives. The tall professor, the lugubrious lieutenant, a solid commitment, a month's pay, a 6-year-old child, the unhappiest, richest man. Adjectives cannot stand on their own as they are supposed to describe nouns or pronouns and modify them. Adjectives are used to bring color to a sentence by making the noun look something special and the sentence sound more complete. Many types of adjectives make it even more convenient to know which type of adjective is to be used. The types of adjectives available for use are governed by a number of rules. And it is these rules that need to be understood in order to be able to use these parts of speech to our advantage. For better understanding, we have to know and learn the position of adjectives, the kinds of adjectives and the ways in which each person can be used to describe words and or phrases. Unlike adverbs, which often seem capable of popping up almost anywhere in a sentence, adjectives nearly always appear immediately before the noun or noun phrase that they modify. Sometimes they appear in a string of adjectives, and when they do, they appear in a set order. position of adjective is used to show the place where the adjective should stand. There are three positions of adjectives. Adjective stands before noun. Adjective can stand before noun in the sentences and it modifies or describes noun after it. Example, he is a handsome man. They are happy students. She is beautiful girl. Adjective stands after adverb. Adverb can stand before adjective in the sentences and it is used to modify adjective that stands after it. So adjective can stand after it. Example, she is very clever. They are so kind. It is too old. Note, adverb is a word which is used to modify verb or adjective that stands after it. Adjective stands after linking verb. Linking verb is the verb that needs complement rather than object and that complement tells us more about the subject. So adjective can be used after linking verb as the complement to tell more about the subject. There are many linking verbs as follows: appear, go, smell, feel, become, get, keep, stay, remain, seem, taste, look. Example, she becomes angry. They seem happy. The sky grows dark. We feel bored. It tastes delicious. Note, complement is a word, phrase or clause which is governed by a verb that completes the meaning of the predicate. Examples, sit down, stand up, hold on. We use two or more adjectives together. Opinion adjectives. Example, interesting, beautiful, normally to before fact adjectives. Example, new, blue. Example, an interesting new film, a beautiful blue dress. When two or more fact adjectives come before a noun, they normally go in the following order. Formula, size plus age plus shape plus color plus origin plus material plus purpose plus noun. Examples, a small rubber ball, that is size plus origin. A young Spanish woman, age plus origin. A large round hat, size plus shape. White leather running shoes, color plus material plus purpose. An old tall man, a tiny pretty doll. Descriptive adjectives or adjective of quality, adjective of quantity, predicative adjectives, personal titles, possessive adjectives, demonstrative adjectives, indefinite adjectives, interrogative adjectives, comparative adjectives, superlative adjectives, numeral adjectives. Descriptive adjectives are those adjectives which describe nouns or the noun phrases. For example, a beautiful day. In this case, beautiful is the adjective which qualifies or describes the noun day. Descriptive adjectives have several forms as discussed below. Colors as adjectives, black, blue, white, green, etc. Touch as adjective, slippery, sticky, etc. Feelings as adjectives, happy, sad, angry, etc. Sizes as adjectives, big, small, thin, thick, etc. Origin as adjectives, European, Latin, Greek, etc. Shapes as adjectives, triangular, rectangular, square, circular, etc. Qualities as adjectives, good, bad, average, etc. Time as adjective, yearly, monthly, etc. Age as adjectives, young, ancient, old, etc. Material as adjectives, wood, cotton, gold, etc. Opinions as adjectives, pretty, hot, expensive, etc. Some other examples of descriptive adjectives are as follows. He is a tall man. They are good students. She is a beautiful girl. Adjective of quantity talks about the quantity of the noun being talked about and provides answer to the question of how much. It shows the quantity or the numbers present in the sentence. In other words, we can say that numeral adjective is the adjective which is used to show the number of noun. There are three types of numeral adjective: definite numeral adjective, indefinite numeral adjective, distributive numeral adjective. Definite numeral adjective. Definite numeral adjective is the adjective that is used to denote an exact number of nouns as first, second, third, or 1, 2, 3. Example: Angkor Wat is the 7th wonders of the world. Angkor Temple has got 5 towers. Indefinite numeral adjective. Indefinite numeral adjective is the adjective which is used to denote numbers of nouns as some, any, much, many, little, a few, lots of. Examples: I have some friends here. She has a few pictures. He has got lots of money. Distributive numeral adjective. Distributive adjective is the adjective that is used to catch a one noun. They are every, each, another, other. Example: each student is very friendly. They speak to another person. There are 3 boys playing in the ground. Here the word 3 signifies the quantity or the number of boys playing. Other examples are: he has little intelligence. Sunday is the first day of the week. Predicative adjectives are those which follow a linking verb and not placed before a noun. Predicative adjective does not act as a part of the noun. It modifies but serves as a complement of a linking verb which connects it to the noun of the sentence. Take for instance, the bag is heavy. Here the predicative adjective heavy is associated with the verb is and links to the noun bag. Other examples are: the weather will be cool and dry. That child is young. Personal titles. Personal titles are adjectives where the titles such as Mr., Master, Miss, Mrs., Uncle, Auntie, Lord, Doctor, Professor, and so on are used as adjectives to describe the position of the noun. These titles could be placed in front or even at the end. For example, the day after tomorrow you can visit Auntie Pauline and Uncle John. The classes on Monday will be taken by Dr. Mary and Professor Kate. Possessive adjective is used where the sentence shows possession or belongingness. They are similar to possessive pronouns and in this case are used as adjectives which modify a noun or a noun phrase. Here words such as our, my, your, his, her, its and theirs are used. For example, have you seen their house? This is his room. This is my book. Your car is outside. His girlfriend is waiting. Demonstrative adjectives are used when there is a need to point specific things. The adjectives function as a way to demonstrate something and are similar to demonstrative pronouns. Here words such as this, that, these, those and what are used. Take for instance the sentence, if I hear that sound again, I will call the police. Here that refers to a specific sound. Other examples are, whose is this bag? These mangoes are sour. That man is very handsome. These girls are good looking. Indefinite adjectives are used when the sentence has nothing to point out or specify. These adjectives are formed from indefinite pronouns and do not indicate anything in particular. It uses words such as any, many, few and several, etc. Here is an example explained in detail. The chief has heard many people make the same promise. The word many is an indefinite adjective which does not specify the quantity of people and modifies the noun people without pointing out exactly who all have made the same promise. Other examples: many children like dinosaurs. Is there any water in the bottle? An interrogative adjective modifies a noun or a noun phrase and is similar to the interrogative pronoun. It does not stand on its own and includes words such as which, what, who, whose, whom, where and so on. For example, what dress are you wearing? Here, what modifies the noun dress and is the object of the compound verb are wearing. Other examples. Which leaves turn color first? Whose son is he? He is a tall man. They are good students. She is a beautiful girl. Comparative adjectives are those which imply increase or decrease of the quantity or quality of the noun. It is used to compare two things in a clause. Adjectives are generally made comparative by adding er to the original work like nicer, taller, smarter, etc. There are some exceptions also. Other examples are, the detective is younger than the thief. Science is more important than math in these days. The school is better than the last one I attended. Superlative adjectives express the greatest increase or decrease of the quality. It conveys the supreme value of the noun in question. For instance, he is the richest man in this town. Here the word richest is the superlative adjective which shows a comparison individually. Mary is the tallest of all the students. I am in the smallest class in the school. This is the most interesting subject for me. It is not difficult to describe anything in this world. Even a lizard can be called pretty by someone and ugly by another. Adjectives fall into place right here. The type of description required in the specific sentences is something which should be given utmost attention to, and the right kind of adjective must be duly selected. These are the simplest part of speech ever. When an adjective follows a linking verb such as feel, become, seem, get, is, look and smell, the word complements the verb and is known as a predicative adjective. The adjective doesn't modify the verb but refers to the condition of the subject. Example: she looks beautiful. He seems ill. Is he all right? The water is getting hot. Compound adjectives are generally hyphenated when they precede the noun they modify. When they follow the noun, there are two words. Those compound adjectives are the following: blue-gray or blue-gray, past-due or past-due, open-minded, narrow-hearted. Example: she designed a blue-gray living room set. When there is a noun after adjective, we use a hyphen. In this case, we used blue-gray. She designed a living room set that was blue-gray. When there is no noun after adjective, we don't use hyphen. An adjective phrase or adjectival phrase is a phrase whose head word is an adjective. Example: fond of steak, very happy, quite upset about it, etc. The adjective in an adjective phrase can initiate the phrase. For example, fond of steak. Conclude the phrase. Example: very happy, or appear in a medial position. Example: quite upset about it. The dependence of the head adjective, that is, the other words and phrases inside the adjective phrase, are typically adverbs or prepositional phrases, but they can also be clauses. For example, louder than you do. Adjectives and adjective phrases function in two basic ways in clauses, either attributively or predicatively. When they are attributive, they appear inside a noun phrase and modify that noun phrase, and when they are predicative, they appear outside the noun phrase that they modify and typically follow a linking verb. The adjective phrases are used in the following example sentences. The head adjective in each of these phrases is in bold, and how the adjective phrase is functioning attributively or predicatively is stated to the right of each example. Sentences can contain tremendously long phrases. Attributive adjective phrase: this sentence is not tremendously long. Predicative adjective phrase: a player faster than you was on their team. Attributive adjective phrase: he is faster than you. Predicative adjective phrase: Sam ordered a very spicy but quite small pizza. Attributive adjective phrases: the pizza is very spicy but quite small. Predicative adjective phrases: people angry with the high prices were protesting. Attributive adjective phrase: people are angry with the high prices. Predicative adjective phrase: The distinguishing characteristic of an attributive adjective phrase is that it appears inside the noun phrase that it modifies. An interesting trait of these phrases in English is that an attributive adjective alone generally precedes the noun. Example, a proud man, whereas a head initial or head medial adjective phrase follows its noun. Example, a man proud of his children. A predicative adjective phrase, in contrast, appears outside of the noun phrase that it modifies, usually after a linking verb. For example, the man is proud. The term adjectival phrase is sometimes used instead of adjective phrase. However, there is a tendency to call a phrase an adjectival phrase in such a case where that phrase is functioning like an adjective phrase would, but does not contain an actual adjective. For example, in Mr. Clinton is a man of wealth, the prepositional phrase of wealth modifies a man the way an adjective would, and it could be rewarded with an adjective. For example, Mr. Clinton is a wealthy man. Similarly, that boy is friendless. The adjective friendless modifies the noun boy, and that boy is without a friend, a prepositional phrase where without a friend modifies boy. Similarly, the term adjectival phrase is commonly used for any phrase in attributive position, whether it is technically an adjective phrase, noun phrase, or prepositional phrase. These may be more precisely distinguished as phrasal attributives or attributive phrases. This definition is commonly used in English style guides for writing, where the term attributive and adjective are frequently treated as synonyms because attributive phrases are typically hyphenated, whereas predicative phrases generally are not, despite both modify a noun. In grammar, a modifier is an optional element in phrase structure or clause structure. A modifier is so called because it is said to modify, change the meaning of another element in the structure on which it is dependent. Typically, the modifier can be removed without affecting the grammar of the sentence. For example, in the English sentence, this is a red ball, the adjective red is a modifier, modifying the noun ball. Removal of the modifier would leave this is a ball, which is grammatically correct and equivalent in structure to the original sentence. The two principal types of modifiers are adjectives and adjectival phrases and adjectival clauses, which modify nouns and adverbs, and adverbial phrases and adverbial clauses which modify other parts of speech, particularly verbs, adjectives and other adverbs, as well as whole phrases or clauses. Not all adjectives and adverbs are necessarily modifiers. However, an adjective will normally be considered a modifier when used attributively, but not when used predicatively. Compare the examples with the adjective read at the start of this article. Another type of modifier in some languages, including English, is the noun adjunct, which is a noun modifying another noun or occasionally another part of speech. An example is land in the phrase landmines. Examples, type of modifiers in English are it was a nice house, adjective modifying a noun in a noun phrase. The swiftly flowing waters carried it away. Adjectival phrase, in this case a participial phrase modifying a noun in a noun phrase. She is the woman with the hat. Adjectival phrase, in this case a prepositional phrase modifying a noun in a noun phrase. I saw the man whom we met yesterday. Adjectival clause, in this case a relative clause modifying a noun in a noun phrase. His desk was in the faculty office. Noun adjunct modifying a noun in a noun phrase. Put it gently in the drawer. Adverb in verb phrase. He was very gentle. Adverb in adjective phrase. She set it down very gently. Adverb in adverb phrase. Even more people were there. Adverb modifying a determiner. It ran right up the tree. Adverb modifying a prepositional phrase. Only the dog was saved. Adverb modifying a noun phrase. In some cases, noun phrases or quantifiers can act as modifiers. A few more workers are needed. Quantifier. Thus, in this session, we talked about adjectives and came to the conclusion that adjectives are words that modify, that is, describe, quantify, or identify a noun or a pronoun to give more information about the same, so that the author's meaning is clear to the reader. Also, we came to know that adjectives nearly always appear immediately before the noun or noun phrase that they modify. We also came to know that adjective stands before noun. It also can stand after adverbs and it also can appear after linking verbs. We also discussed the various types of adjectives. Secondly, we talked about adjective phrases or adjectival phrases and came to know that it is a phrase whose head word is an adjective. Example, fond of steak, very happy, quite upset about it, etc. Thirdly, we discussed about modifiers and came to the finalization that a modifier is an optional element in phrase structure or clause structure, and also came to know that the modifier can be removed without affecting the grammar of the sentence. The adjectives, adjectival phrases and modifiers are extensively used in spoken and written English language. So the learner should understand the meaning of adjectives, modifiers and adjectival phrases, their positions and their types through the given examples, so that he can use them without any fault. Thus, we hope that the learners would enjoy this session, and also after watching this episode, they would be able to use adjectives, adjectival phrases and modifiers confidently in their spoken and written language. In today's episode, we have learnt about to understand accurate meaning and uses of adjectives, adjectival phrases and modifiers, understand the position of adjectives, adjectival phrases and modifiers in sentences, use the right adjectives, adjectival phrases and modifiers at the right place, and expand and improve the skills of speaking and writing English correctly. That is all that we had for you in today's episode. We hope you enjoyed this session. See you again next time. Till then, thank you and namaskar.